May 14th, 2015, and haven't been digitally journaling in a little while. So I've got some exciting news. It's just been completely crazy. That I guess I've just been lucky. My best friend, who is basically the person I've been spending the most time with, in the last since I've been back in Utah, um, was a previous boyfriend of mine, and that's Justin, and he might change his name, but anyways, he's somebody who I saw dancing on the dance floor, really tearing it up, and I decided, hey, I'm gonna go over there and dance with him. And apparently, he had his eye on me the entire time at Club Metro, and and then we had a lot of really crazy times dating. We had tried an open relationship after for a while, and then that sort of petered out. He became a little bit more distant, and I sort of sensed this distance, and I'm like, well, we're not really being intimate with each other, so let's just part ways in a way, but just stay friends. And we actually did stay friends, and we're best friends. And he was staying with his grandma, and I got this place, which is my first apartment. And yeah, and so we started. Suddenly, it was like I was dating other guys, and I had a guy that was just like head over heels for me. He wanted to marry me, and we had talked about hand fasting and everything, and really nice guy. And then Justin, who was my best friend of 4 months, just basically said, I like. I get really jealous. He said this in a text when you're with other guys. And I'm thinking, he gets really jealous. Why? We're friends now. And apparently he had feelings for me still. And then so we sat down on the couch and we talked about it. And we were like, oh, okay, let's be in a relationship again. And so then he became my partner again, because before I was living at his place for a month, and he's been living at my place for a month, and in secret, because my parents don't want any homosexual relationships or whatever that they're going to be supporting, thinking, well, I'm an adult here. I'm going to be 29 in a couple of months. I don't need that kind of oversight. But I tried to explain it to them. I'm like, well, I talked to my dad yesterday. I was like, well, you kind of have to consider partners as being on the same plane as being married. And I mean, legally they are. We get the same benefits as partners if we register with the state. The main thing is we've had to keep it in secret because we're here in Utah, and my parents are not for it, and of course his grandparents and parents are not for it, and it's not like it's their choice or their say whether or not I'm in love with the guy or not. And I told my dad the other day, I'm like, whether you like it or not, I'm going to marry a man, and maybe that man will be Justin. I always say that with every guy, hoping it's going to be, but we've literally stuck it out through some really tough times. He got over his drinking issue, where he was passing out a lot because he was new to alcohol, and I was saving him, and he's really managing that really well, and we've been going on hikes and swimming in the pool and laughing and holding each other and watching Netflix and holding hands and walking, and it's just like, it's really beautiful. And yesterday he was a little bit more distant again, and I was worried, a little bit concerned that he was going to do what he did before, but it just seemed like he was under a lot of pressure. He has a new job, and it's going to pay really well, especially with overtime, so he's doing a few hours of overtime tonight, and I'm really proud of him. And he has no health problems, which is cool. So it makes it more likely that we'll succeed as a couple in California. So basically, the plan is to secretly move to California, and he'll take his car, I'll take mine, find a place, buy a school so I can continue my university training. I'll be farther away, so my parents will not really be able to come by and make sure everything is in line with their religious preferences, which has nothing to do with me. But for some reason, they want to superimpose it on me. But in California, that's not really easy for them to do. Um, so I've had to give them my word that I wouldn't have guys over here, but the honest truth is like I'm having to change my mind pretty soon after I give my word, because it's like, in order for me to be happy, I need to have somebody living with me, because I've had partners for mostly the last 2 years, and the only time I've really been at peace and content is when I have somebody sleeping with me every night, and feeling that safety and that comfort of just knowing that there's somebody there who absolutely loves me with their whole heart. And I think that love, that unconditional love, and I mean, like, not all gay guys are unconditional, but overall, we've been fairly non-judgmental of each other, and that's been a refreshing thing, I think, for both of us, because we've had a lot of judgment in our lives. So yeah, I don't know if it's gonna work, because Justin has a fair amount of debt, and I'm concerned about that element, because it's like, I see where he's coming from though, and I know that in my position, if I didn't have any sort of parental support at all, given my health things and whatnot, I'd probably be in debt as well. Um, within the next, and I have a little bit of debt this month, but normally every month I don't have debt. So next month I should have that all paid off by, because there's not that much, it's like $150 or whatever. So I got my license renewed through California. I don't know where they're going to ship my stickers, because it's like, yeah. So it's been what you could say has been it's been an eventful, it's been a very eventful month or two. A lot of sex, a lot of really, really great sex. Some subpar experiences that were in the interim, when me and Justin were apart. I had dated a 6'3" guy, and I mean, he was a little bit out there. I mean, he's going to Oregon to live in a tent with the Radical Fairies or something, and he wants to have 4 people marry each other, and I'm just kind of like, well, everyone has their preferences, but I always imagine just being with one person. And I've got some other things on my mind. I probably won't post this journal entry. I've been super excited and happy overall. I mean, what kind of killed the mood was having to meet my parents, and Justin was working for them because he didn't have a job until recently. I mean, he had a job, and then he didn't have a job for like a week and a half or whatever, and he helped at my parents' place. And so I've been swimming laps at the pool and everything, but I guess you could just say that it's been hard to live in a situation where I don't have people who are LGBT friendly in my life. I guess my parents are probably a step above what the average LDS family, how they accept their children who are gay. Considering my dad's not dumb, and I'm sure he knows that I'm going to have guys over, I think he's trying to prevent me marrying a guy for the chance that I'll marry a girl. And the honest truth is I dream about guys, I would say, most of the time, like 90% of the time, maybe 80% of the time. Every once in a while, there's some girl who elusively comes into my dreams, and it's almost like I'm curious. I imagined if I had a place by a school that I would start to try to date girls again. But the honest truth is I love guys, and to find a girl that was edgy enough to meet my needs would be harder. Um, Perhaps not impossible, but maybe more of a stretch than I'd want. And so there's a lot of different ramifications that would come for a lasting partner for me. It's like, for one, I've got to think about my physical needs. And the reality is that unless I get through college, um, or like another person, um, it's basically from the standpoint of I'm really good at certain things. I'm really good at taking care of a house, cooking meals, um, the things that are more of a like stay-at-home dad type of deal. Because my health can be spotty. I mean, obviously, I'm in top physical fitness, but I do have conditions, hereditary conditions that have set me back. Not only set me back, but in some instances, because of the pain response from certain forms of social stress, it can shut me down. And you can't black out on a job. You can't. And I've had jobs before, but it's just kind of like if I can find a good man who's a supporter, and I can be the one that stays at home and takes care of the kids, and if we have any animals or adopt any children or whatnot, or just maybe do foster care for a few years or something to take care of a few kids, but that's not even necessary for me, just from the standpoint of it's just not. But I wouldn't mind it. It's just like when you're born gay, you're not really societally expected to be father figures. You're just not. You're not expected to raise children. And to be completely honest, most of the general public, at least in this state, would view it as kind of like, I don't know. I mean, if I end up having kids, of course, I will treat them with the utmost respect, and I will not let anything bad happen to them. That's within my control. But because we don't live in a state where people are open to that idea, being in California, it's more likely that I'd be able to adopt if I wanted to go that route. Um, but having a husband is basically a bit of an isolating thing to date a guy when you're surrounded by people who mostly date girls. Um, the amount of social and societal pressure that I think like my boyfriend went under, where he was basically forced to date girls when he was not at all interested in them. And whereas I'm bisexual, I don't mind dating girls, but it's like they sort of faded out after I started dating guys. I just wasn't that interested in dating them anymore. And sexually, just not highly driven to be with a girl. Just kind of like probably could happen if if everything lined up, but it was not like. I guess I could just as far as the common definition, just say, hey, I'm gay, because it's a choice really to be gay. And when you weigh the pros and cons in my individual situation, liking to bottom, which I'm sure I've covered in previous videos, it's just like, a girl could use a dildo or something, but it's not exactly the same. I've never had a dildo experience that's been as powerful or as rewarding as being topped. So, and of course today I feel like a top, so it's like, those things I don't have an interest in them. But yeah, so this is a few of the things that have been on my mind lately. It's like pretty much the same thing all the time, because it's like ever since I came back to Utah, it was like people tended to be, well, I'm trying to get exactly what it is that I want. And I mean, Justin is pretty much, he's strong-willed, and and from the standpoints that I can see, he's pretty much the perfect match, because he's not caught up in the whole religion thing. He's okay with, he's practiced a little bit of magic with me. He's okay with it. You know, he's fun. That's a big thing. He likes to dance with me. He likes to go on hikes. He's not somebody who I imagine being super lethargic, because he's just not. He's not into smoking weed. He's not into. Uh, he drinks on weekends now. He doesn't. He doesn't like party hardcore or anything like that. Um, it's just a more of a respectable thing, I think, to have a partner, or to, eventually get married to a guy. It's a lot more societally accepted than being the type of person who just sleeps around with everyone. And as far as minimizing risk, um, I won't know for a few months as far as like what my status is. But if I'm with Justin and we stay monogamous, we have a good chance of escaping the whole catching an STI thing, hopefully. And obviously, when I get more money, I need to get the Gardasil vaccine, because, HPV is not a pretty thing. I've seen the results in a few people who are in their 30s, and, they start to show signs of it because of exposure. And hopefully my genetics and my health is such that I'm burning out any possibility for that to be um, taking control of my system, which I want to avoid. Um, I might have to do a serious sort of like cleansing, because, um, yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm staying safe, being as beautiful as I am, and it's obvious why people would obsess over me, because it's like, for many years I haven't had as many expectations that are placed on me, like other men who are like, oh, you have to get a job, you have to go to, and just like things that would make somebody less likely to exercise and eat healthy, whereas me being a model, working in the entertainment industry, it's like a strong focal point of mine has been working out. Therefore, I have results that other men would envy and be attracted to. And so that's why I've had to realize my own beauty and make sure that I'm not undercutting myself by going out with people who are like not as attractive as I am, because it just, those types of people tend to carry more diseases, I've found, because it's just like they don't care as much because they don't view themselves as beautiful, and I think they take more risks because of that. They want love so bad because they don't have the highest self-esteem, that they tend to get exposed to things that people who are more attractive don't, because the people who are more attractive, if they stay within the other people who are more attractive, then they tend to be like people who are more health conscious, and more health conscious people are more likely to use like condoms and things. Um, there's so much I want to do to help the world and like post videos that will like inspire people, but it's been difficult because it's like I haven't had internet, and so like I'm totally like making this video with the hopes of maybe someday I'd upload it, but most likely not, just because of the nature of it being a little bit on the personal side. And I want to create a YouTube channel where it's a lot more professional with backgrounds and everything. So before my pork chop gets cold, which I've been making this video 20 minutes, so it's probably getting there, I better take off, and just wanted to let you guys know also that a spell of mine worked this morning. There was a bunch of people talking, making racket. I was trying to rest and enjoy the day to myself, and unfortunately they kept making noise, and so I did a spell saying like, let them leave, push them away, don't let them talk in this area, go somewhere else to talk. And literally, like, I went into the bathroom, I came out, and it was completely silent. They had gone, and it was just like, oh, wow, Always getting that validation from magic is an awesome thing. So I highly recommend practicing positive, higher vibrational magic if you want to experience a lot of benefits in your life. And yeah, and yeah, so I'm having a good day, and I will talk to you soon. Peace out.